Is that not enough?
Well, the EU, no, it's not. The EU has been very tough over the years. They're sending millions and millions of cars into the US, but we don't have a car that's been sold to the European Union. And yet they send millions of cars in a year, Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, BMWs.
Did you know European countries are secretly waging war on American cars? While Donnie Diapers was busy building walls and fighting with Rosie O'Donnell, Germany, France, and Denmark cooked up regulations that could kick US automakers right in the tailpipe. Think I'm exaggerating? A $1.5 trillion industry, that's trillion with a T, is now sweating bullets because they can't meet European emission standards. Grumpy Trumpy is throwing a tantrum, but this time his Twitter rants won't save Detroit's finest from the green revolution across the pond. Remember when American cars were the kings of the road worldwide? Yeah, those days are fading faster than Trump's spray tan in a rainstorm. Europe has been quietly setting up a regulatory fortress that makes the Berlin Wall look like a picket fence. Germany, France, and Denmark. This European trio isn't just changing the game.
The EU has said that they have offered 0 for 0 tariffs on cars and industrial goods.
And it's not going to be that way. It's got to be fair, reciprocal. It's got to be fair. It's not fair.
They're creating an entirely new board where American vehicles aren't even allowed to roll the dice. While Trump was busy rage tweeting about cable news ratings and crowd sizes that definitely weren't compensating for anything, these European countries were crafting the perfect payback for his tariff tantrums. And let me tell you,
debt's become such a big factor in this country. We're going to start paying debt off with tariffs.
revenge is a dish best served with a side of climate consciousness. Germany, the engineering powerhouse of Europe, has basically declared American vehicles as obsolete as floppy disks. Their environmental transformation program might as well have a big red stamp that says gas guzzlers need not apply. German officials are handing out fat incentives for electric vehicles while looking at traditional American engines like they're discovering a new fossil. Ford and GM now face the impossible task of completely reinventing their production lines, or kissing the German market auf Wiedersehen. The kicker? If American automakers don't pour billions into research and development to meet these new emission standards, they'll be banned faster than Trump's Twitter account. We're talking about a potential complete lockout from not just Germany, but potentially the entire European Union.
Is that not enough?
Well, the EU, no, it's not. The EU has been very tough over the years. They're sending millions and millions of cars into the US, but we don't have a car that's been sold to the European Union.
That's a market worth trillions slipping through America's fingers because we couldn't be bothered to evolve beyond the combustion engine. France isn't being any gentler with their approach. They're boosting their domestic brands like Peugeot, Citroën, and Renault with state-sponsored incentives that make American companies cry unfair trade practices. The irony is thicker than Trump's makeup. The champion of America First policies, now upset that other countries are putting their own interests first. Who could have possibly seen that coming? Everyone. Everyone saw it coming. The French government has set such ambitious electric vehicle targets that American SUVs and pickup trucks might soon be as welcome in Paris as a MAGA hat at a climate summit. American automakers are sweating bullets over new taxes and regulatory obstacles that could make selling their vehicles in France about as profitable as Trump steaks. Then there's Denmark, tiny in size but massive in green ambition. They're pushing for carbon emission elimination with the determination of someone who actually believes science is real. The Danish government is considering banning internal combustion engines entirely after certain dates, or taxing them so heavily that only billionaires could afford them. And guess what? They're persuading other EU countries to follow their lead.
That's the reason it was formed. It was formed with all of the countries from Europe, I guess most of them, not all of them, but most of them. The European Union's been very bad to us. They don't take our cars.
This is particularly bad news for American vehicles. which are about as environmentally friendly as a coal-powered leaf blower. The $1.5 trillion US automotive industry is facing a market that increasingly views their products as environmental villains. How exactly are these European countries threatening to cripple the American auto industry? It's the perfect storm. Environmental regulations stricter than a German train schedule, domestic incentives that make local cars irresistible, and carbon taxes that hit gas guzzlers where it hurts. American manufacturers, who spent decades perfecting bigger cup holders instead of better efficiency, are completely unprepared. The funniest part in this whole mess?
I always say it was formed to really do damage to the United States in trade. And yet they send millions of cars in a year, Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, BMWs.
Trump spent years whining about seeing too many Mercedes and BMWs on American roads. Now, American vehicles might disappear from European streets entirely. That's not just irony. That's karma with a German engineering certificate. Grumpy Trumpy's response to this existential threat has been predictably juvenile. He's blaming everyone except the actual culprit, his own short-sighted policies that basically invited this retaliation. It's like poking a bear and then being shocked when it doesn't send you a thank you card.
And they formed together to create a little bit of a monopoly situation, to create a unified force against the United States for trade, for car, so for gasoline. So we're really doing amazing on every form of energy, from oil and gas to coal, and people talk about, I call it beautiful, clean coal.
The money at stake here explains why Trump is throwing his biggest tantrum yet. We're talking about a $1.5 trillion industry, facing potential exile from one of the world's largest markets. American auto companies might need to completely reimagine their business model or watch their European sales evaporate faster than evidence around Trump. And here's the punchline, folks. Trump is totally blindsided by this European resistance. He actually expected them to roll over when he started throwing his weight around on NATO spending and trade surpluses. Instead, the Europeans built their little green bloc and started playing hardball with their own economic interests. Now Trump's sitting there, mouth hanging open like a goldfish, probably mumbling, "Europe is deceiving us. They are not being fair in our trade." Classic Trump, always the victim, never the instigator. American car companies now face a brutal choice: adapt to European standards or kiss that market goodbye. Maybe next time Donnie picks a fight with allies, he'll check if they've been hitting the regulatory gym.